It's Mikey V. It's Jam 1077. With me is a special guest on the show. This gentleman has mastered the art of making everyday nonsense hilarious. You've seen him on HBO's Two Dope Queens. He's written the Fresh Off the Boat or For Fresh Off the Boat and his Netflix special, Sweet and Juicy. Also produced and directed by Ali Wong, Comedy Gold, bringing his unique brand to Foxwoods Resort Casino next Saturday. Please welcome to the show, comedian Sheng Wang. What's up, brother?
Thank you. Hi, Mikey V.
How's
How are
everything
y'all?
been? How you feeling?
I'm good, man. I'm grateful. I've been busy. I've been touring quite a bit. Get to come home and reset every now and then, but
Yeah,
out there running around, doing shows, meeting fans, and just enjoying the opportunities
yeah.
right now, man.
Tour life has got to be tough, right? Because you're always on the road doing something. Like, what's a secret to getting enough rest? I would say to that.
I mean, I'm still trying to figure it out. It's still exhausting. I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
I just come home tired. I don't
yeah.
know the being in a tube in the air just is
Yeah,
exhausting. I don't maybe it's just not natural for us to
right.
be doing that, to be traveling 30,000 feet in the air, hundreds of miles an hour for like six,
Right.
7 hours at a time. Maybe it just takes, I don't know, maybe there's some stuff we don't know about yet that just makes it tiring. But yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to do it right, how to do it well. I do think you have to prioritize your sleep
Yeah.
and get to bed early, but it's challenging. It's just hard to get to bed early in your regular
It is.
life, but when you start mixing time zones, things get
Yes.
weird. I always have this hope, like when I come back from the East Coast, maybe I'll be like early bird, because
Right.
I'm 3 hours ahead. Then I come back home, I'm like even later than I was before I left. I
Yeah.
don't know how this works,
Oh, it's brutal,
but
man.
gotta rest somehow. Gotta rest and
You got to do it.
exercise. I try to walk. I do a lot of walks. I take walks. I think it's good for mind, body, and also potential material just to get to know the place.
Yeah, you just so your stuff is really everyday, just life. Do you pick up a
Hmm.
lot of things as you're going out and about, just looking everywhere and taking notes down?
Yeah, I try. It's not necessarily all comedy. A lot of times I'm just walking around just to like kind of get the vibe of a place, but also I like taking photos. My other interests before I started pursuing stand-up
Yeah.
were photography and poetry. And I mean, if you think about it, though, all three are kind of related and somewhat similar, very individual pursuits. You're kind of
Right.
looking around the world or your environment or your life, and you're examining things closely, and you're kind of framing things and looking, more closely at something. Yeah, so I walk around when I visit a city. I'll take a walk around, especially if it's like a nice walkable place. If it's like a downtown area, and
Yeah.
just appreciate the architecture, just the space, the colors, whatever's blooming,
Yep.
and I'll take photos. But it's not necessarily all comedy, but sometimes it could be. You know.
I think that's really cool to me how, like a comedian's brain could take something just by looking at it and turn it into something funny though, which is
Hmm.
really neat. You know what I mean? You know how to almost simplify things to make it hilarious in a way and it's relatable to everyday people.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I like to examine kind of the minutia of life, the more mundane moments that we kind of don't even like pause to think about. We're sort of on autopilot. But
Yeah.
underneath all of that, there's always, I mean, if the fun part is if there's a small part of you that does have some feeling or some particular like emotional reaction to something, but you don't even think about it, you
Right.
know. I like to just kind of pause, pay attention, and examine that for a little bit.
I love that. Tell me about how did you realize, comedy was your path? What was that moment of like, you know what? I'm gonna go for this.
Yeah, I was desperate to figure something out, you
Mhm.
know. I was in college, very lost. I was trying to figure out what to major in. Everything just felt so too important to decide. I'm kind of just quite non-committal, kind of indecisive about small things, much
Yeah,
less like
yeah.
the path of your life. I was not a class clown. I wasn't someone that was seeking the attention.
Mm,
I found that once I was forced to do something in front of people, like, a little dance or a little some kind of performance for a showcase, like at the end of a summer camp,
right.
or when you were forced to do something in front of people, I I didn't want to, but once I found myself on that stage, I did enjoy that connection with an audience.
Yeah.
But I never sought after it, and I never was, I was always pretty like still a good student.
Mm,
And it wasn't until I got to college and I was trying to figure out what to do, and I ended up, getting a business major because I felt like that was a safe
smart
option.
move, right? Yeah.
So, just because I was too scared to do anything else. I remember telling my girlfriend at the time, I was like, maybe I'll be a filmmaker. And I just remember the look of excitement and how much, she was like proud and happy for me. And then I immediately backtracked. I was like, maybe I'll think about
I
it.
know. Yeah, that's funny.
I don't know. It just was scary to. But basically, I finished college, and everyone else in the business school, everything was lined up. By the time spring break came around for the last year of school, they were all had their negotiated salaries, their clothing, their
Yep.
wardrobe, everything's all tailored and ready to go. I didn't follow that. I ended up, anxious and just really lost.
Wow.
I was still trying to figure out if I could do poetry or photography or whatever,
Right.
but between the three of those different formats, comedy kind of felt like sort of the easiest way
Home.
to start. I mean, you can just write some jokes, come up with some ideas, and just go to an open mic tonight and try it out. You don't have to wait for a gallery or a show or
Right,
someone
right,
to
right.
put on something for you. It's just accessible. Um, yeah, and I don't know. That's kind of how I fell into it.
Do you
I
feel
just
that
started doing it.
that poetry kind of helped you in a way, or was it just
Yeah.
something that clicked in? Like, hey, I'm gonna go to this open mic night real quick, and you just love that feeling being on stage, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's both. There's
Yeah.
a performance aspect, and then there's just the creating, the coming up with the idea, and then crafting it out into a thing that you share. Kind of word for word. Um, I love that. I love taking the time to figure out how to express this idea.
Mm,
I mean, I do it kind of both ways. I go on stage and I try to I just try to go with an idea, and I just try to share it naturally.
right.
And I do that for a number of times until I find myself kind of in a rut where I feel like I've fallen into a specific kind of pattern, and
Mm,
but it's not quite there yet. And to break out of that, I'll sit down and just try to hammer, I just make it little tiny adjustments
mm.
and pick the right words, and sometimes rearrange a sentence so it ends on this word or it starts on this word. Um, just to make it fun to say and to hear.
It's funny how, like,
Yeah.
different words could be and the way like you said, moving the sentence around could help a bit go so
Hmm.
long. People
Hmm.
don't understand that, so you really dissect, like, one joke you do or bit
Yeah.
over and over, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I love that part though.
Yeah,
I love the creating and making it and honing it and making it
yeah,
better and better and better. Like it's always nice to do a fun show and to get a reaction and get a laugh. It's always fun to kill, to
yeah,
do a great show. But for me, the most rewarding part that's more lasting is the constantly improving.
mhm.
Like to do a great show is good, but to do a great show or to do an okay show, but you find something new that you want to change next time, that is more worthwhile to me.
I used to work on cruise ships as an entertainment host, okay,
Dang,
and,
okay.
I dabbled a little while in as a comedy host, just introducing
Yeah.
comedians and stuff, and,
Mhm.
tons of comedians would always say, "Hey, like, look in front of the mirror and deliver whatever you're doing." I just couldn't believe it. I was like, "You know what? That's a good point." Do you find yourself doing that still? Did you ever do that?
To talk into the mirror and
Yeah,
practice like
talking in
that?
the mirror.
Yeah, yeah, I've done that. That's helpful. It's good to see yourself. I mean, I I think just to repeat, just to say those words out loud as if you were telling somebody, that I find that always gives you a chance to
Mm.
figure something out, you know? Um, yeah, it's comedy cruise is, I mean, a cruise ship is being an entertainer on that thing is challenging work. I mean,
Did you ever
you're
do it?
also being on a boat for a long time is already challenging.
Yeah.
I've done a couple.
Okay.
Um, it's rough. It's rough.
It
I
was
mean, the whole
I mean, for
lifestyle,
me,
the whole
it's
thing,
crazy. Yeah, you
to
do
leave
shows every night,
home.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, and to
I
be
was
on a boat in the middle of the ocean with tons of people,
you never know.
it's a lot. It's a lot to I don't know. It's
Yeah, you get
challenging.
it though.
Yeah.
There's a part of it that people don't understand, but you lived it too, so you get it. I was out there 6 to 8
Yeah.
months, man. But
Oh my goodness. You were like deployed.
oh yeah, it was like a like a military setting.
Yeah, you're on a tour.
We had like
Yeah,
wheelchair
it's
races.
challenging. Um, I yeah, I
Good
talk
times.
about it a little bit in I've been exploring some areas of that, but the buffet, you know.
Yes. Let's talk about that for a second. I always called it the food jammer instead of the wind jammer.
Yeah, it's a doozy. I mean,
I
it's kind
know.
of all you got out there, you know.
Really, it is. And
It's yeah.
everyone's mission just to get as much as they can all day
Yeah.
long.
Yeah, it's madness. I remember the first cruise I did, I think I spent a third of my paycheck on the booze. They didn't even like they didn't comp the booze, and for some reason, I probably drank more than I normally would, but
Mhm.
I spent too much of my my paycheck on the money. And I remember the last show, I this was terrible. I don't even remember if I woke up in my cabin and I was like,
Oh, yeah.
did I do the show? I couldn't remember if the show happened.
Oh my gosh, that's
And
hilarious.
then I looked across, on my desk, there was 2 plates of food from
Yeah,
the buffet that somebody
I
had
remember.
constructed, and
Mhm.
I don't even remember that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
I know those
it's
nights
rough.
oh too well. We would, work hard, play harder, and then somehow get up at 5 in the morning to get everybody off the ship. I'm on the
Yeah,
walkie-talkie like, "Group 6. Alright, come on down."
yeah, that's a
Oh,
crazy life. It's work, you know? It's
yeah.
work if you can get it,
Fun, but
but
yeah, it was worse though.
yeah.
So Foxwoods Resort Casino though, man. Are you a gambler, spa guy, straight to the buffet kind of guy? This place is amazing.
I'll probably explore the buffet, you know?
Tons of
I
food
like to say I like to gamble with my life, you know?
on.
That's why I go to the buffet. Um, yeah, I'm not a big gambler in general, not with
Yeah.
money. I'll go people watch
Mhm.
and I'll eat. But yeah, that's kind of my thing. I might throw a couple $100 away, but
Yeah.
that's not usually where I get my kicks.
But I mean, there's so many great things to do. And once you see it, it's gonna blow you away how big it is. I do know
Nice.
like a fun fact. It's about I think either exactly 1 mile or a little over from one end to the other.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can get a good walk in just
Oh yeah,
inside
get
the
some
casino.
exercise in. Instead of going to the mall, that's where I go. So it's a
To
good
the
time for my
right
walk.
on.
You know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So for fans who have never seen you live, what kind of night can they expect at your show?
I mean, if they've seen the special, and I hope you do that, like do your homework,
Mhm.
get an idea of what comedy you're gonna go see. Um, the new show is different from Netflix special. It's a whole different hour from Sweet and Juicy. But it's a pretty natural extension of that material. If you enjoy that, I think you're gonna love what I'm doing now. I mean, it's just a fun night. It's just a night of laughter. It's a night of like joy and generally kindness.
Mm,
Yeah, my comedy is, you've seen it. It's not mean spirited.
no.
It's just generally trying to share a wholesome night with people, a fun night, with joy and kindness. That's kind of
Yeah.
the vibe I try to present.
Where could people find you on socials, websites, and all that stuff before we wrap up? I know you're a super busy guy.
Yeah, no worries. Sheng Wang Time is shengwangtime.com is the website, and you can find pretty much everything there. That's all my socials is Sheng Wang Time. Um, yeah,
I love the bit when you're like, oh, people ask me about my name. Yeah,
yeah,
that was
yeah.
I saw that one. I think it was on Comedy Central.
Yeah. I've been at it for a long time, you
Mm,
know. There's some oldies but goodies out there.
mhm.
Yeah,
All right.
Sheng Wang was a rough one to grow up with.
Well, you didn't
I
make it.
I actually had an alias for a while,
Yeah.
a lot of Asian folks that have names that are harder to pronounce. Like for a while, they would just have someone. Just my mom let me like just pick a name when I was a kid because Sheng Wang was a little bit too weird for the kids in elementary school. So
Oh,
when I was like
please.
in first grade or so, she was like, just pick a name, and I went with Jerry, from the cartoon Tom and Jerry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I wanted, I'm the good guy, I guess.
I love Tom
That's
and Jerry too.
it was a great cartoon.
Yeah.
So yeah, for a
That's
while
where it came from.
I was Jerry Wang for a while.
All right, my guy. Well, next Saturday we will see you at Foxwoods Resort Casino. I really appreciate your time, Jerry, aka Sheng Wang, coming on the show. We'll
Thank
hit
you,
you up on
appreciate it.
socials. Yep. Tickets still available at foxwoods.com and tell them Mike if you sent you. Shang, have a great time. I know coming on the airplane, like you said, you're traveling all over the place. Um, the smells always bother me on an airplane. So God bless you. And we'll see you next weekend at Foxwoods.
Appreciate you. Thank you, Mikey B.
Thanks, brother.